Shishi Radha Madhava Astasaki ki jai, Chaitanya Chandaraya Mandir ki jai. Narayanam Namaskrityam.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Shaiva Narottamam.
Naram Shaiva Narottamam.
Devyam Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayam Udirayat.
Tato Jayamudirayet.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So we've been reading about Krishna's pastimes, activities, Uddhava's activities, delivering message to Vrindavan, his recollections of the Vrindavan pastimes for Maitreya. And now we're going to, Kartik's over, we're going to go to other places. So we're in Canto 3, Status Quo, Chapter 3, which is Uddhava's remembrance of pastimes outside of Vrindavan. So very, very nice. Uddhava uvacha tatasa ugatya puram swapitra pitre. Uddhava uvacha
Uddhava Vacha.
tata agatya puram swapitros.
Tata Sagatya Puram Swapitros.
Tata tamani tata sa agatya puram swapitros.
Tata Sagatya Puram Swapitros.
Chekir saya sambaladeva samyuta.
Chikirshaya Shambaladeva Samyutaha.
Nipatya tunga ripuyuta natam.
Nipatya Tungad Ripuyuthanatham.
Hatam vyakarshad vasum ojasor vyam.
Tam Vyakarshat Vyasum Ojasorvyam. Uddhava Uvacha.
Uddhava uvacha.
Tata Saagatya Puram Swapitros.
Tatasva agatyam puram svapitro.
Chikirshaya Shambaladeva Samyutaha.
Chikirsaya sambaladeva samyuta.
Nipatya Tungad Ripuyuthanatham.
This conference will now be recorded.
Tatam vyakarsha vyasum ojasorvyam. Others chant.
Tatassa agatya puram svapitrosh.
Tatasa agatyam puram svapitro.
Chikirshayasham baladeva samyuta.
Chikirsaya sambaladeva samyuta.
Nipatya tungad-ripuyuthanatham.
Nipatya tunga rupuyutanatam.
Hatam vyakarshad vyasumojasorvyam.
Yatam vyakarshad vyasum ojasorvyam. Ladies, devotees, chant, anybody? Don't be shy.
Tata Sagatya Puram Swapitros.
Tatasa agatyam puram svapitros.
Shikirsaya Sambaladeva Samyutaha.
Chikirsaya sambaladeva samyuta.
Nipatya Tungam Tripojutanatam. Hatam Vyakarshadvyasum Ojasoryam.
One more. Echo. Uno más.
Udhava uvacha
Udava uvacha.
tatasa agatya puram swapitros
Tatasa agatyam puram swapetros.
Shikirshaya Sambaladeva Samyutaha
Shakir sayasam baladeva samyuta.
Nipatya Tungadripuyutha Natham
Nipatya tungad vripuyutanatam.
Hatam Vyakarshad Vyasum Oyasorvyam
Hatam vyakarshad vyasum orja sorvyam. Uddhava vacha, she would have said, tata thereafter, saha, the Lord, he, agatya, coming, puram, to the city of Mathura, svapitraho, own parents, chakirshaya, wishing well, sung, well-being, Baladev, samyutaha, with Lord Baladev, nipatya, dragged down, tungat, like in Tunga Vidya, from the throne, Ripu Utanatam, leader of public enemies, Ripu Utanatam, Hatam, killing, Vyakarshad, told, Vyasum, dead, Ojasa, by strength, Orabam, on the ground. Uddhava said, thereafter, Lord Krishna went to the Mathura city with Sri Baladev, and to please their parents, they dragged Kamsa, the leader of public enemies, down from his throne and killed him, pulling him along the ground with great strength. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. King Kamsa's death is only briefly described here because such activities are vividly and elaborately described in the 10th canto. The Lord provided to be a worthy son of his parents, even at the age of 16 years old. Okay, so that's how old he was when he went to Mathura. We have our hypothesis he was a covered flame until Kishore, but when he reached his Kishore age, even people began to figure out who he was, maybe Kamsa. So from 11 through 15, 16, okay. But then he went to Mathura like 16 years old. Both brothers, Lord Krishna and Lord Baladev, went to Mathura from Vrindavan and killed their maternal uncle, Mama, who had given so much trouble to their parents, Vasudeva and Devaki. Yes, they had done that. Kamsa was a great giant, and Vasudeva and Devaki never thought that Krishna and Baladev would be able to kill such a great and strong enemy. Somebody, Vishwanath Chakravarti or something, we heard. Mrs. U was out in her garden, tra-la-la-la, cultivating her roses. Yeah. And then one big woman came along, Rakshasa or something, and raped her, if you say in English. Said by this, and he was incensed. Hey, so many women would love to have children by me. Why are you disturbed that I violated you? So anyway, she had Kamsa. So he wasn't actually the son of Ugrasena. He was actually the son of some Rakshasa. Yeah. And big and powerful. Their parents feared that now, when the two brothers attacked Kamsa on the throne, the parents feared that now Kamsa would finally get the opportunity to kill their sons, whom they had hidden for so long in the house of Nanda Maharaj. The parents of the Lord, due to parental affection, felt extreme danger. Oh my God. and they almost fainted. Just to convince them that they actually killed Kamsa, Krishna and Baladev pulled Kamsa's dead body along the ground to encourage them. They're very nice. Okay, now we've extracted all this. Maybe we can, let's go up here just and try and do advanced view. No, it didn't work. Okay, yeah. And then we'll do distranslations. So let's just read through the chapter. Jayananda did this. Jayananda used to do this when he would give class. He didn't. I mean, when Jayananda it was his turn to give class in the temple, he would just maybe read the verse and we all chant the Sanskrit, and he would say, "Well, some so and so. I think you have a lot of knowledge on this. Why don't you?" He would just have somebody else give class, or something, or he'd just read all the verses. Of course, you heard from Prabhupada's lips, if you chant Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Sri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, and follow it with Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You have achieved the perfection of life. But if you want to preach, you should probably read my books. So here's how we can preach. How do you preach? You read Prabhupada's books. Hey, everybody come here. I'm going to read this book to you. And if Krishna grabs you and forces some commentary out of your mouth, okay. The Lord's pastimes out of Vrindavan. Okay. So Uddhava pulled down Kamsa and killed him. The Lord learned all the Vedas with their different branches simply by hearing them at once from his teacher Sandipani Muni, whom he rewarded by bringing back his dead son from the region of Yamaloka. So Krishna and Balaram, they were young men. They should have started Gurukula a long time before, and they arrived, and Devaki was hysterical. That's quite appropriate. And Vasudeva was probably almost as hysterical, especially hearing Devaki. And so then Vasudeva said, "Oh my goodness!" But now Nanda Maharaj is taking care of you so carefully, but you haven't had any chance to become properly civilized. Okay, so let's have a few rituals here, and get you properly dressed and send you to the tailors, and now we'll send you off to Gurukula before anything, because you gotta become, take time in Gurukula, because every serious person has to have time in Gurukula. So Sandipani Muni taught him, and let's see, I think it's Sandipani. Who was Sandipani Muni's mother? Bum 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 bum.
Is that Purnamasi Guru Maharaj? Purnamasi Guru Maharaj was Sandipani's mother. Okay, and who was her grandson? Madhumangal.
Yes, it's a real funny family. So when she heard Krishna had taken birth in Vrindavan, something like that, it shows you Sri Dharma here, So she ran off to Vrindavan. Yeah, Bobby went, like elegant lady, and she made a little cottage of leaves. Bobby was explaining, you just maybe wet the ground, take a few sticks from the forest and stick them right in the wet ground. They dry out. Then you bend them over and take some vines or some threaded tree bark, and just tie them together so they make a nice little covering. You take leaves and you just what's the word? You shingle them. First row next, second row on top of that, and then there you have a waterproof house. Then Prabhupada says, plant tulsi on the bank of the river and chant Hare Krishna. Whatever food comes, accept that. So Prabhupada said, we can do this. It's a simple life. Yes. Okay, the Lord learned all the Vedas with their different branches simply by hearing them once from his teacher Sandipani Muni. Of course, in the Sanskrit, now we're wondering what the words for Vedas and branches are. After attracted by the beauty and fortune of Rukmini, Krishna's a fortune hunter. Okay, attracted by the beauty and fortune of Rukmini. Is always the case. Guys are after girls who are rich and who are beautiful and have a rich daddy. So Krishna was attracted by Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmak. Many great princes and kings assembled to marry her, but Lord Krishna, stepping over
the other hopeful candidates, carried her away as his own share, as Garuda carried away the nectar. So here's the whole story. It's not in the Bhagavatam. Amar Chitra Katha comic books, I think, has a nice story like this. Yeah. Of course, you can take Amar Chitra Katha comic books and just white out the what do you call it, the English, and just write it in Spanish, and you have suddenly published one of 50 or 60 good books for your kids. Some are not so nice. I think Mother Irma picked out ones that are just maybe deviated or something. But they have a lot of nice comic books. You can use them for stories. You can use them for puppet shows. If you have puppet shows, you can distribute them like that and send some money off to them for your pirating. Okay. There's a very nice story about one drama. When Prabhupada was watching the kidnapping of Rukmini, maybe we'll tell us sometime. By subduing 7 bulls whose noses were not pierced, my goodness, the Lord achieved the hand of Princess Nagna Jati in the open competition to select her bridegroom. Although the Lord was victorious, his competitors asked the hand of the princess, and thus there was a fight. Okay. So that's the life, fighting over beautiful women. Yeah. As for Kshatriyas, Brahmanas don't care so much. Brahmanas are rather happy to accept a wife who is easily obtained without much effort. Or by intellectual fighting. Well equipped with weapons, the Lord killed or wounded all of them. Why not? But he himself was not hurt. Okay. Wow. Fighting with Krishna and being killed by Krishna. How wonderful. And maybe you can do it for several lifetimes. Just to please his dear wife, the Lord brought back the Parijata tree from heaven, just as an ordinary husband would do. But Indra, the king of heaven, induced by his wives, hen-pecked as he was, ran after the Lord with full force to fight him. Narakasura, the son of Dharitri, the earth, tried to grasp the whole sky, and for this he was killed by the Lord in a fight. His mother then prayed to the Lord. This led to the return of the kingdom to the son of Narakasura, and thus the Lord entered the house of the demon. Complicated story, but all related to Krishna. As the boy was growing up, was he a tributary to the Yadu dynasty? Did he visit, Dwarka with his followers sometimes? Did he talk to Krishna? What is the purpose of life? There in the house of the demon, all the princesses kidnapped by Narakasura at once became alert on seeing the Lord, the friend of the distressed. They looked upon him with eagerness, joy, and shyness, and offered to be his wives. All those princesses were lodged in different apartments, and the Lord simultaneously assumed different bodily expansions, exactly matching each and every princess. Oh boy, I didn't know that before. He accepted their hands in perfect rituals by his internal potency, just to expand himself according to his transcendental features. The Lord begot in each and every one of them 10 offspring with exactly his own qualities. Kalyavana, the king of Magadha, and Shalva attacked the city of Mathura. Shalva, okay. He was encircled by their soldiers. The Lord refrained from killing them personally, just to show the power of his own men. So we have Jara. But Shalva attacked Dwarka. The kings like Shambhara, Vidvida, Bana, Mura, Balvala, and many other demons such as Dantavakra, some he killed himself, and some he caused to be killed by others, Shri Baladeva, etc. Then over Dura, the Lord caused all the kings, both the enemies and those on the side of your fighting nephews, to be killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. All those kings were so great and strong that the earth seemed to shake as they traversed the war field. Dhritarashtra was married, Pandu was married, but was Vidura married? I think he was. When the Shudrani girl was arranged, yes, a nice girl. And we don't know much about that. Maybe someone knows more about that. Duryodhana was bereft of his fortune, yeah, and duration of life because of the intricacies of ill advice given by Karna, Dushashana, and Shobala, which is also Shakuni. When he lay on the ground with his followers, his thighs broken, plural. Although he was powerful, the Lord was not happy to see the scene. After the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, the Lord said, the abatement of the earth's great burden, 18 Akshahinis, has now been effected with the help of Bhishma, Drona, Bhima, and Arjuna. Dronacharya, Bhishma, Arjuna, and Bhima. But what is this? Aide me, Karamba. There is still the great strength of the Yadu dynasty born of myself. Wow. Actually, in Mexico, they could do a really, really good Krishna Lila. I don't know, maybe adjusted into Inca, into the Aztec. The Aztecs. Plus, the Aztec culture and the cultures before that were probably even a part of the whole Vedic culture, the worldwide culture, of which Yudhishthira was the king, the emperor. Okay, there's the strength of the Yadus, which are maybe more unbearable. Oh my goodness. When they quarrel amongst themselves, influenced by intoxication, with their eyes red like copper because of drinking madhu, then only will they disappear. It will not be possible otherwise. On my disappearance, this incident will take place. Lord Shri Krishna, thus thinking to himself, established Maharaj Yudhishthira in the position of supreme controller of the world in order to show the ideal of administration on the path of piety. God. The embryo of Puru's descendants, begot by the great hero Abhimanyu in the womb of Uttara, his wife, was burnt by the weapon of the son of Drona, but later he was again protected by the Lord. The Supreme Lord induced the son of Dharma to perform 3 horse sacrifices. Maharaj Yudhishthira, constantly following Krishna, as the personality of Godhead, protected and enjoyed the earth, assisted by his younger brothers. Simultaneously, the personality of Godhead enjoyed life in the city of Dwaraka, strictly in conformity with the Vedic customs of society. He was situated in detachment and knowledge, as enunciated by the Sankhya system of philosophy. He was there in his transcendental body, the residence of the goddess of fortune, with his usual gentle and sweetly smiling face, his nectarian words, and his flawless character. The Lord enjoyed his pastimes both in this world and in other worlds, higher planets. Oh yeah? Oh yeah. Specifically in the association of the Yadu dynasty, at leisure hours offered by night, he enjoyed the friendship of conjugal love with women. Okay. Maybe he has some parties, you know. Just Krishna with each queen all the time. Yeah. There are pictures like that. The squirt gun and the gopis, and also the queens of Dwarka playing holy with Krishna. You know? Yes. Oh yeah, and also describes they were putting butter and ghee and yogurt everywhere, and all their cousins and everybody else were, you know, could see each other's intimate features because they're all wet. And probably so this is quite delight, pure, but it inspires lusty desires for less pure people. The Lord was thus engaged in household life for many years. Yeah? Many years. Many years. But at last his attachment for the ephemeral sex life. And of course, sex here doesn't mean just gross activities, but all the subtleties of relationship. Those are also sex. Sanika Pandit says, even a vidvan, a greatly learned person, should not sit on the same sofa with his mother, daughter, or sister, because even such a person will be agitated. You know? So both ways, it's a subtle sexual. Every living entity is controlled by supernatural force, and thus his sense enjoyment is also under the control of that supernatural force. No one, therefore, can put his faith in Lord Krishna's transcendental sense activities, but one who has become a devotee of the Lord by rendering devotional service. Bhakti-yamam abhijanati. Once upon a time, great sages were made angry by the sporting activities of the princely descendants of the Yadu and Bhoja dynasties. And thus, as desired by the Lord, the sages cursed them. A few months passed, and then, bewildered by Krishna, all the descendants of Vishnu and Bhoja and Andok, who were incarnations of demigods, went to the Prabhasa. While those who were eternal devotees of the Lord did not leave, but remained in Dwarka. After arriving there, all of them took bath, and with the water of this place of pilgrimage, they offered their respects to the forefathers, the demigods, the great sages, and thus satisfied them. They gave cows in charity to the Brahmanas, in royal charity. The Brahmanas were not only given well-fed cows in charity, but also gold coins, bedding, clothing, animal skin seats, furs, horse blankets. Of course, probably all ahimsa animal skins. Blankets, horses, elephants, girls, and sufficient land for maintenance. Okay, so the girls are included with the coins, bedding, and animal skins. Okay. Thereafter, they offered the Brahmanas highly delicious food stuff. First offered the personality of Godhead, and offered them respectable obeisances by touching their heads to the ground. They lived perfectly by protecting the cows and the Brahmanas. Let's see if it says something more in the next chapter. Thereafter, all of them, descendants of Vishnu and Bhoja, being permitted by the Brahmanas, partook of the remnants of prasad, and also drank liquor made of rice, sake. By drinking, they all became delirious, and bereft of knowledge. They touched the cores of each other's heart with harsh words. As by the friction of bamboos, destruction takes place, so also at sunset, by the interaction of the faults of intoxication, all their minds became unbalanced, and destruction took place. The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, after foreseeing the end of his family by his internal potency, went to the bank of the river Saraswati, sipped water, and sat down underneath a tree. The Lord is the vanquisher of the distress of one who was surrendered unto him, and thus he who desired to destroy his family told me previously to go to Badarik Ashram. Yet in spite of my knowing his desire to destroy this dynasty, Arindama, Vidura, I followed him because it was impossible for me to bear separation from the lotus feet of the Master. As following, I saw my patron and Master, Lord Sri Krishna, sitting alone and deeply thinking, taking shelter on the bank of the river Saraswati, although he is a shelter of the goddess of fortune. Okay. So this is another chapter. And now he's answered Vidura's questions about how is all the family, how are you, how's the family, how are the Kurus, how are the Yadus, how's Krishna. Yes. Of course, he doesn't talk about the Kurus, as we remember, because it says there's no question of talking about their good fortune. You know? Because Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana were simply surviving on the results of simple activities. You know? And their destination and doom was guaranteed. You know? But he describes Krishna and a little bit about the Yadus and everybody else. You know? So then, of course, now the next thing, the story goes on that Vidura wants to take instruction from him, understand everything. You know? And of course, Uddhava says, no, you're like my father, and Maitreya is here, he's like my grandfather. He heard these same stories, you know that. He heard everything from Krishna just as I heard it. So you go, please take shelter of him and learn from him. So then that becomes then the fourth canto, I think. The rest of the third canto, fourth canto, I think in the fifth canto, maybe there Vidura retires. Someone else can correct us. Maybe it's the sixth canto. But he retires and goes back, and then that thread was actually in the first canto, where he met Dhritarashtra and all the ladies from the palace, and Yudhishthira and Arjuna and everyone else. And then he delivered Duryodhana from his attachment. You know? But he couldn't inspire him to be a devotee because it was offensive to the Pandavas. He was attached to his kingdom, but it was just too much. He let it. It wasn't just what's the word, like accidental fall down. Which you can understand. Okay, Indra did these things. He had an accidental fall down, tried to kill the Brisbasis. But Krishna said, it's a bad day, be more careful. But if you fall in Maya again, I'll come and save you. You're doing a tough job. But Dhritarashtra was actually offensive. He was actually somehow or other even enjoying this or something like that. So he became a Dhira, and Gandhari followed him, and they burned to death and left their bodies. And whatever happened to them? Tonight's question. So many more questions to find out. And how we can all participate in this, because Krishna really wants to enjoy himself. His pastimes are becoming richer and more filled out. And first the artist has an idea, then the artist takes their wooden mannequin and adjusts it in the form they're thinking of. Then they'll sketch it in pencil and maybe block it out roughly and make quiggly lines to get the mass involved. They'll put those to one side and they'll block it out again on the paper with pencil and maybe erase and add and change sizes of the pencil. Then they'll ink it. Okay, they're not even ink it yet. I'm sorry. Okay, then they'll go ahead and draw clothes on it. Okay, then you can ink it with different colors and everything else. Let it dry thoroughly. Take an eraser and erase off all the exposed pencil lines. Maybe some of those have to go, but it's a process. And we see finally, what's so beautiful? Well, it needs a background. So the pastimes of Krishna need more and more, opulence, detail, everything else to be always expanding and basically expanding like that. So any comments by anybody here? Any thoughts, any questions? Anybody know what happened to Duryodhana after he died?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my obeisances, all Guru Sri Prabhupada.
Jai.
So Maharaj, I have this one simple question, not regarding the story, but things you said that if you want to preach, read my books. So it's a personal thing that initially when all this stuff was new, I was enthused to learn this. But now it's like mind is saying we have heard this. So I'm being diverted to different Puranas and trying to know different stories. So how do I stick myself to Prabhupada books?
No. It's one time, for example, somebody on a boat, I've heard this story, was crossing the Ganga on a boat, and the person said, "Oh, Siddhanta Saraswati, you're such a great scholar. You've done this. You've traveled, all these things, all the disciples, and you appear to be so much greater than your spiritual master." And so Bhaktisiddhanta was laughing, and he said, "You're just seeing the superficie." He said, "This whole thing is useless without the motor. You can't even see that." He said, "But Gorkeshwar Babaji is my motor," and I'm just transferring what he's stimulating me to do into these areas. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat aviyakta mortena matstani sarabhutani nachaham te savasitaha. It's like 7:4, 7:11. Maya dakshina prakriti. So that's what Krishna says. I'm everywhere in this kind of stuff. So it's quite natural. Once we have the basic culture and philosophy down, it's just we're in the material world. We're attracted to it. It's our natural tendency of our mind, from our conditioning to go to the senses, see things, understand, material relationships, names, forms, social customs, society. Okay, but now if we have some basis in Krishna consciousness, in Prabhupada's books and literature, we read these things, we know the ideas, then it's okay, it's very nice. And we just start taking these things externally, and we start building bridges. You find, okay, people are attracted to this, that, this, and that. And so, I'm attracted also, let me see. So we don't get lost. We don't become offensive. And so we see, okay, yeah, this can be used in Krishna's service. This is why it's attractive. Yeah. So we have to be careful, because we can, any step we can fall down. But it's quite natural that we start then trying to see how all these things apply. Management theory, different artistic techniques, vastu, construction of temples, business, This goes on and on, every single natural ability. So that's the main thing that we have to do. We have to do is how to use them for Krishna. And of course, as we go out and see things, that inspires us to go back and try and find things we don't know in Prabhupada's books, in our literature. Wow, this is just like a story of Haridas Thakur being beaten through those marketplaces. Wow, I want to go, where is that? So we should gradually develop, an overview of all of Prabhupada's books, and we should become more very expert in certain aspects of them, because we have a tendency, if you're a Brahmana, professor, teacher, okay, you have one tendency. If you're a Kshatriya, manager, administrator, you have another way to look at Prabhupada's books, Yeah. So is that good? That's some help now?
Yes, Maharaj, because what's happening is like I'm gradually getting attracted to integrate with different religion or different philosophies. So in that ways, I am becoming more macro as from the government angle. So then I try to see from different angles. Like right now, I'm watching a serial of Vishwamitra. How does the king progress and those sort of things? So it's all rotating about the stories I have heard, but somehow the progression to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's not happening. It's just like Puran, Ved, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam stories, that's it. Somehow the attraction to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like, okay, that's too much for me.
Yeah. So you have to understand how to do it properly. That's the whole thing. As we go on, we try so many things, and then we settle down and realize, well, actually, I'm on Bhagavad Gita. That's what I'm at. I haven't really understood I'm not the body. I haven't understood the karma. I haven't understood that God is great and Krishna is the supreme cause of all causes. And if I don't deal with him properly, I'm going to die. Okay, so I better, yeah. And I'm a demon, So what is our position? That's all we're concerned with. What is reality distinguished from illusion from all? And our resources. We went through so many things, okay. But we find out this is where I'm really at, but I'm gonna have a little bit of that, I have some of that, okay. So then there's some thing there. Sometimes you just like to pull Chaitanya Charitamrita off the shelf and just look at it or something, or I have within arm's reach, I have the Krishna book. So nice, But again, we're attracted because many times the main thing is in the beginning, text number 7, Upadeshamrita, there won't be a taste. But somehow or other, because of intelligence and honesty and sincerity, we realize there's not a taste. Never has been, really. But even still, I'm just making this decision. This is what diksha means, basically. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna matriculate in this school. And the agreement is that if I follow the process, they guarantee within 4 years I'll have a diploma, a qualified, certified diploma. Papa says you chant 16 nice rounds a day, you're guaranteed step to rise to the platform of Uttamadhikari. So that's this diksha, this matriculation and stuff. So you need to matriculate. That's one step. Finally decide what school you're going to join.
Thank you.
And until you do that, of course, it's always floating around trying. You're auditing all these courses in different universities, and you're learning something. But it lacks that, thing of actually being a formal student. You should be initiated in the Sri Sampradaya or something. I don't know. You should become a Christian, Harsh Pradhan. Yes, Muslim. It'd be better to be a Muslim. Have a little beard. Any other comments?
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisance. Prabhupada, I have a question.
Okay.
So here Yudhishthira is addressed as Dharmaja 2 times in what you read, son of Dharma. So who is this Dharma?
I would say what's it called, Yamaraj.
So, but Yamaraj came as Vidura, was already there on the planet.
But your voice was a little bit rough. You're saying that Yudhishthira is described as the son of Dharma?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, and you said if Yamaraj is Dharma, but Yamaraj is already on the planet as Vidura, and Yamaraja's post was occupied by Aryama.
Yeah. But I'm thinking of Yaksha Prashna.
Okay.
So who appears in front of Yudhishthira after he answers all the questions?
Yeah, that's another question.
Yeah, it's Yamaraj. So I mean, the thing is, people take up these different posts. For example, like what's her name? Rohini was staying in Vrindavan, and Vasudeva was in prison or something in Kamsa's house, and then Balaram was born. So actually, one lady, when Mataji's girl, she asked Prabhupada, well, how did she get a child from him? If she was in Vrindavan and he was in Mathura, And Prabhupada said, there may have been a visit. So, yeah. So we have these things happening. I mean, Vidura's stuck in the body of, a Shudra like that and so forth, so on. That doesn't mean, okay, he goes out for certain things and allowed to do something here and there. And, and Aryama's, taking care of it like this and that. And, oh my God, you're back for one day. Hey, you took over for one day and I'm going to go back and visit the planet of the trees. I got to go and take care of this and that, So all these kind of things are going on, And who is Yudhishthira in the more, maybe Yudhishthira, I would say that Yudhishthira maybe, well, it says that all of them previously had been, Mahabharata says they all previously had been Indra. All the 5 Pandavas previously had been Indra. But I don't know what that means, And maybe in this life or their eternal associates or in different they incarnated and did with Krishna in different pastimes. They've been Indras and so on. So I don't know the details. But my tendency is to think that Yamaraj, is his father, and I don't know, Vidura is more like is in the mood of an uncle in that sense. Yeah, he's not like so proud of them, thinking like my kids, So I don't know anything more than that.
And also Guru Maharaj, when it said that he decided to destroy all the Yadus except his eternal associates. Who are those eternal associates who were not killed? At least we know that what's his name? Forgot. Yudhishthira enthrones him as the head of Mathura. I'm forgetting the name.
Vajranabha.
Yes, Vajranabha. So Vajranabha remains. I was wondering when it says, yeah, I was wondering when it says only the demigods left, who are the ones who was left behind? I mean, the demigods actually, yeah.
I think Ugrasena stayed also, yeah. That's beyond that, I don't really know. It's like Uddhava survived because Uddhava was following him. Okay, I guess, but Krishna and Balaram were there for Vasa Kshetra. They were killing more than anybody else.
And also Krishna's form is described as having four hands when he left. I thought he was still in the body of Krishna, but while he was leaving, he left in 4-armed form, something like that.
Yeah.
But when Uddhava saw him on the banyan tree, he was in the 4-armed form already. So that's when he was shot. When he was shot, he was in the 4-armed form.
I guess so. I don't know. Again, I would say these forms can be adopted and unadopted as required. The Bali of a 2-armed form was required. Okay, it would have been required. Yeah. Yes, Krishna expands himself in the rasa dance. Reads Sanatana Swami, no? Prabhava Vibhava, Swayam Prakash Taratmika. Wow.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
So I will quote Prabhupada as saying, we must know all these things, but not right away. Okay, so gradually. In the Hari Vamsa, you find different things. They may take more than one lifetime or something. Why do you really care? It's like some of these things, questions like, we get to our service, they're not so important to us. Nobody can know everything, not even Krishna. Even Krishna is just like amazed at his creative potencies. But then his creative potencies and his knowledge potency then brings it all back in perspective. Okay.
Yes.
So, yes. Thank everybody. It's a nice picture here. I was wondering that these Rakshashis, the squirrels could be, and the squirrels and trees and the water and everything else could all be devotees, like helping Sita and Hanuman with his 2-colored shorts. But the Rakshashis, they were saying really, really offensive things. Some of them about cooking her,
Except
So,
Trijata,
some of
there
them
is
were more favorable. Huh?
isn't there one Rakshasi Trijata who was friendly with Sita and she was helpful?
They're saying, yes, some of them were more favorable and friendly, and Vibhishana's wife was sent by Ravana to actually befriend her so she wouldn't be too disturbed. I don't know if she was a Rakshasi or not. She was Rakshasi, but no. So anyway, but I was thinking these Rakshashis that Sita, when she was all alone there, she must have been singing songs and saying things, and so the Rakshashis, while they're sleeping, are hearing Sita, talking about Rama. So it's a very fortunate position. Got to be born as a witch, like that. And you're a trollini, trolless, and to be there with Sita and hear her talking about Rama, the mixed mellow. Yeah. Okay, so thank you all very, very much. Chant Hare Krishna and see what Sankirtan plans Krishna has for you today. See you tomorrow. See you tonight.
I have one request for the English-speaking devotees who know Spanish. Friday is Nandaraja Prabhu's class. We need a translator, unless Nandaraja Prabhu thought of somebody already. We had a little difficulty last Friday.
Okay. Otherwise, Lalita Gopi get us to translate again. She did a good job. She did a nice job. Very nice English. Yeah. She's very too shy. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Where is your servant? Haribol.
Yeah.